Moving on to 6.2, more expressions involving rational exponents. And what we're going to do here is we're going to do some multiplication of exponents. Or I should say multiplying expressions containing exponents. So the book just gets started, so let's go ahead and do that. You already know the rules for multiplying with exponents, and that is you either add the exponents or you multiply the exponents depending on what we've got going on here. So in this case, we're just distributing. Same old rules in order to distribute. So let's write this out in its entirety. So we multiply those two, and then we distribute and multiply this x to the 2/3 times x to the 1/3. So we write it out that way to remind us that we have two exponents side by side with the same variable, and we add the exponents. That's pretty much the key here, is just being able to add my exponents. 2 plus 4 is 6 over 3, just adding fractions. X to the 3 over 3. And that gives me x squared minus, this changes to x to the first, so minus x. And that ends up being our answer because we cannot combine our x's here because we have different exponents. So we end at that point. So example number 2 on page 507. This is really done the exact same way as something like this would be. Okay? The exact same way. It's just using the FOIL method in order to solve this. So let's get rid of this and just do the FOIL method. And again, I'm not going to do anything with my exponents till the very end. So let's multiply the first. So that means we're going to multiply the x to the 2/3 times x to the 2/3. Okay, so again, we're leaving things as is. So we multiplied our first. Now we're going to do our outside. Plus 5x to the 2/3. Then we're going to do our inside. Minus 3x to the 2/3. And then we're going to do our last. Minus 15. Okay. So now we're going to change colors. We're going to add these. So x to the 4/3, and we're going to add those. A plus 5 and a minus 3 is plus 2x to the 2/3. Okay, the key thing here is when you're adding and subtracting variables with exponents, you don't do anything with them. They just kind of tag along with them. Okay, so just the numbers are added here. And then we've got minus 15. And that is done. It just said multiply them, so we did. So let's try another one using the FOIL method. So first, as we're going to multiply these two, so 3 times 4 is 12, a to the 1/3, a to the 1/3, okay? And then we're going to do the outside, negative 3a to the 1/3 b. So we're just putting our stuff in here, but I am multiplying the numbers when I can. But other than that, I'm just using my variables and writing the exponents there next to each other. And then my last is going to be positive, because this and this give me a positive, 2b to the 1/3, b to the 1/3. Okay. Now we're going to look at common denominators on each one of these and make sure, they're all the same, so that means I can combine without any problem. So 12a 1/3 plus 1/3 is 2/3, minus 3. Can't do anything with that one, but I do have that there, so I can combine those two. Negative 3 minus 8 is negative 11, and then I've got just my a to the 1/3 b to the 1/3. Okay, the key thing is over here, I had a times a, so I added the exponents and got 2/3. Here I have a to the 1/3, a to the 1/3, but I'm subtracting. If I'm adding or subtracting, I do nothing with the exponents. Okay, I just add or subtract the numbers. Okay, so I'm over here. These are multiplied, so I'm going to add the exponents there. Okay, and we're done with that. But that's the key thing you've got to look at when you're subtracting or adding with variables. You're just dragging the variables along. It's kind of like saying, well, it is like saying 3x plus 8x. You get 11, you add your numbers, and the variables just go. This is not 8x or 11x squared. We didn't multiply the variables, we added, so that means you do nothing with them. So that'll be a key part of this when you're going along here that's real easy to forget to do. All right, bringing us to example number 4. We've got t to the 1/2 minus 5 the quantity squared. Okay, so again, you can use the FOIL method. You can also use, there was a formula we used way back that looked like this. But it's hard to remember these formulas. So sometimes it's easier just to do the FOIL method. So t to the 1/2 minus 5. I like to write it out both times so I can do first. And then outside, then inside, and then last. Okay, so when I do that, I can combine these because they have the same exponent with this, or the same variable with the same exponent. So I'm going to add these together. 2 over 2 is 1, so that ends up just being t. This ends up being negative 10t to the 1/2. Again, we don't do anything with our t to the 1/2 because we're subtracting we're subtracting terms, and then we have 25. Okay, if we do the same thing with that, we square the first term, square the last term, multiply, or put our negative 5 and negative 5 together, or our negative 5 and t to the 1/2 together, and then multiply them, then multiply it by 2, and I get the same thing. But I would just stick with the FOIL method just because it's easier to remember that than that other formula. That brings us to example 5. X to the 3/2 minus 2 to the 3/2 times x to the 3/2 plus 2 to the 3/2. Now remember, there was another formula that said if we have something like that with the exact same terms, with the exact same variables, we can write that as a squared minus b squared, the first term squared minus the second term squared. If you like to do that, go ahead, and that will make things a lot faster. The other option is the FOIL method again. So let's use the a squared minus b squared. So when we do this, we get the first term squared minus the second term squared. So this squared, remember, because we have this parenthesis here between them, we multiply exponents. So x to the 6/2, or x cubed, minus 2 to the 6/2, or 3. And 2 cubed is 8. And we're done. So this is example 6. They give us one way to do this. Now, some of you like doing the vertical column. This particular kind, remember the vertical column meant with if you had like x squared plus 2x plus 3, and you did it like this, and you multiplied this, 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 and then you did this, this, and this, okay? You can do it that way. In fact, that's the way the book does it. I prefer not to. I think it gets really confusing. I prefer doing it kind of along the line of the FOIL method. So we take this and we multiply it by each of these terms. And then we take this and multiply it by each of these terms. Okay, and that's the way I'm going to do it. So let's just look at that. And we have a to the 1/3, a to the 2/3. So that was the first one. Now we'll do it. Let's just keep with the blue. Let's do it times that. Plus a to the 1/3, a to the 1/3, b to the 1/3. Okay, and then that one. Plus a to the 1/3, b to the 2/3. Okay. Now let's do it in red, even though I did the first one in red. Okay, so it'd be negative b to the 1/3, a to the 2/3, and this one. Oops, that would be a minus. That minus b is going to make everything negative, isn't it? B to the 1/3, a to the 1/3, b to the 1/3. Okay, I'm running out of room. Let's make it smaller so I have more room. And then we're going to do this one times this one, which is negative b to the 1/3, b to the 2/3. Okay, so I've got quite a bit of stuff there. So let's see what I can combine. I can combine these two. Let's go ahead and make this a bit bigger. So this one is going to be a to the 1/3 plus 2/3. That's 3/3. So 3/3 is 3/3, which is 1/1, which is 1. So we're just going to leave that there. Okay, let's look at what else we've got here. We've got a, b. Okay, so let's go ahead and add these. So that's going to be plus a to the 2/3, b to the 1/3. So we're just combining. Plus, can't do anything with this one. There's nothing to combine. And here we can't combine anything. I am going to switch them around just to put them in alphabetical order because everything else is in alphabetical order. Okay, I'm going to again do this alphabetical order. Put that first, and then the b to the 1/3. B to the 1/3 would be b to the 2/3. Then we finish up with b to the 1/3 plus 2/3, which is b to the 3/3, which is b to the 1, which I don't have to do anything there. Okay, so now let's look and see what I can do with this stuff right here as far as combining like terms. So b to the 2/3, b to the 1/3. I have another one here. So I'm subtracting it. So because I'm subtracting a positive one and a negative, or putting a positive and a negative together, those go away. And I've got a term there, and I've got a term there. So because this is positive and this is negative, those go away. So I'm left with a minus b for my answer. So let's stop there and get ready for part B of 6.2.